straight from the realm of all things gaming. Everything Noob starts now.
Welcome to another episode of the Everything Noob Podcast, episode 132. I'm Vortak, joined as always by Ms. Jemmy, Mr. Treadlow. How's it going?
What's happening?
Going good.
We are gamers and streamers of sorts, and we come at you every week with the Everything Noob Podcast, except for last week, which was a technical difficulty nightmare. And
yeah, so we're not really
last
good
week didn't
computer
happen.
techs.
It didn't happen.
we tried twice. It just didn't work out, so we apologize. But we are here now, and there's a whole bunch of news we missed, and a whole bunch of stuff happened in the last week or so that affects us all as gamers of the PC genre. And I think we need to discuss Steam refunds. That is tonight's show. For me, at least for the people I follow a lot of game devs. I've noticed this issue to be rather controversial. And if you just follow a lot of people who are gamers, and by games, you're probably seeing a lot of people rejoicing. So, I mean, I have a ton to say about this. I know you guys have a ton to say about it. I was before the show. You guys should have seen it. I'm like, stop! We need to talk about it on the podcast. It was nagging. So
Well, because it's just so hard not to want to jump into it, though.
I know. Well, I'll kick us off because I was teasing these two before the show, saying I've seen some controversy. And they're like, what are you talking about?
I don't see how you could not enjoy the fact that there is actual customer service now with Steam. I mean, I think maybe it's a little shortchanged because in order to get a refund, you have to have owned the game less than 2 weeks or 2 hours playtime.
Yeah. Well, 2 hours of playtime or less than 2 weeks.
You can't have played it for 2 weeks or you can't have played it more than 2 hours.
Okay. Someone else I saw said, like, one of the stipulations was rumored to be, like, months or something crazy, or weeks. Or
no, it's just 2 weeks and you can get a refund.
Okay. So I was following some devs, and one dev in particular, I'm not going to call them out because I'm going to say something mean about them first. They tend to write a lot of blogs with, I guess, passion. I'll try to be positive about this. They're very passionate about their work, but they write a lot of things I disagree with a lot of the time. And if you're noticing,
why do you read his blog then?
Well, because it's just kind of like one of those people you follow.
It's a valid point.
One of those people you follow because they always have something interesting to say, and maybe it's like a topic you're like, no, this guy's totally wrong. Or in this case, I'm like, wow, this is one of the first times I actually completely agree with this guy. I don't know. Maybe I'll link him in the show notes. He's made a couple games that have done pretty well. And I mean, he's worth mentioning. But some of the things he says I disagree with. I'll just leave it at that. In this case, though, I had to agree with most of what he said in his blog. So basically, the first thing that came to my mind when I saw the announcement for Steam refunds was, hey, I could just buy the game instead of downloading a crappy demo, and if I don't like it, get my money back. That was the first thing that popped in my mind. Instantly. Like, without anyone provoking that thought. And that's the first thing he says in his blog, buy demos. Meaning that's what devs are now afraid of. There's no point in putting out a demo because people are just going to buy the game, and if they don't like it, get their money back.
No. I still think there's a point to demos, though. Because usually a demo is like a truncated, like, short adventure that kind of gives you a sample of what the game's like. And knowing that Steam won't give me a refund after 2 hours, I would rather risk playing the demo as much as I want and not having to maybe accidentally jump through a hoop or not be able to get a refund because 2 hours and 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually demos are a lot smaller in file size too, so I don't know if somebody's going to want to download a 10 gigabyte game, try it, not like it, and then uninstall it. You know?
That's a good
I'm
point.
sure there is rules too. I didn't look too far into it, but I imagine you are locked out of the Steam store or like the card shop and stuff like that, the Steam Money community, for a while too if you do a chargeback or a refund, I should say.
Well, like a penalty?
Yeah, like you could still buy things, but you can't like buy or sell trading cards and stuff like that. Like you're locked out of that. Like with the chargebacks when they did the paid mods.
Okay. See, these are good points. I didn't even think of it that way. Where, especially what Dreadless said about the big downloads. That's a really good point. But the other thing he said, which I think is pretty fair, is that if you're an indie dev, there's been a common theme with indie devs lately where they make their games DRM free because DRM is bad and scary and nobody likes it. Well, if you do that in this case, people can buy your game, download it off of Steam, and then get their refund.
Oh,
this is going to force indie devs to use DRM.
I don't think you're really going to see a huge spike in piracy. I'm pretty sure it's just going to be the same deal because I can't imagine like the people who aren't already doing that kind of stuff or pirating it another way, like, are going to be like, you're not going to get new people doing it. It's not going to be that easy still. Maybe,
but that's kind of his point with that. It's funny that you brought that up because he said, "What piracy will happen no matter what?" Well, this brings me to my next point, and then his big bullet point was Steam shouldn't make it easier to pirate games.
I don't think it'll be any easier because it's still to pirate games you have to be somewhat tech savvy, and I don't trust the average Steam community member is tech savvy enough to pull a game down from Steam, install it, somehow like copy all the files and unlatch it from being involved in the Steam store and then going and getting their refund back and being able to run the game without Steam going, hey, wait a minute.
No,
I just don't see it.
If you get a game through Steam that's DRM free, okay, you still have to go onto Steam and log in and stuff to access that game, right?
Typically, yes.
Yeah.
So there's still kind of a DRM there. But
there's no solid DRM making it so it's married to Steam, I guess in this case. But because he's a game developer, so I'm suspecting that his games can be taken off of Steam and downloaded some other way.
Yeah, if you want to, you can strip the stuff out that would require Steam to launch the game.
Yeah. So,
I mean,
and he mentioned
possible.
in here that a lot of people who put the pirated links on, say, a YouTube video, like, oh, you want this game for free? Click the link. A lot of those, or torrents, put you at risk for viruses. But if you get it from Steam and you know how to pirate, you're guaranteed not to get a virus because you got it from its original source, and then you got your refund. Now, Jake in chat says, there are terms in the refund thing that say if you abuse this, you won't be able to use it. Of course, they have to put that in there, but...
I mean, obviously, Steam's going to get a huge red flag going through their bot system that's like, this guy has returned, like, 500 games in the past week or two.
Yeah.
He's clearly up to no good. Like, if you return, like, games sporadically, like, once or twice a year, like, you decided, like, a purchase was really a bad idea, then... you're pretty much just genuinely, honestly returning a game that just turned out to either A, not work on your computer, or B, like you loaded into it and immediately decided like, whoa, this is not for me.
See, I always thought that DRM free on Steam didn't necessarily mean that it's free from Steam. What I always thought it meant was you can uninstall it and reinstall it on another computer. You can basically go anywhere and install it anywhere on any computer.
I thought that was just Steam, though. I thought you could do that with any big AAA title. If you own it in Steam and you log into Steam with another machine, rhyming, you can just download it again.
Yeah, I know you can. Yeah, you can pretty much do.
Can't you do that with any Steam game?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
pretty much.
So what's the point in making your game DRM free? Is the question? Because people don't like to see DRM.
Well, I know you can go to the certain devs websites.
Yeah.
Actually, Weems in the chat, and he probably knows this because I think they did that with their game. You can go to the website and you can purchase it from them, DRM free, download it and play it without Steam at all. And then you can further get a Steam key and install it through your Steam. So you can have it as part of Steam as well.
That I understand. But if your game's only in Steam...
If it's only on Steam, yeah, I don't know how it's technically DRM free.
Still technically linked to Steam, which is a sort of a form of DRM. So it's not really DRM free.
And then the refund thing doesn't even affect you if you're selling your game off of Steam and on Steam, because you're only required to offer the refund through Steam. If they buy it from your website, you can have your very own refund policy.
Yeah.
Which is, sorry, all sales final. RimWorld is a really great example of a game that's DRM free and does it in a way that I think is right. With every version they release, if you've bought the game, you get all the latest versions. With every version, you can download it up to, I think, 5 times. For whatever reason, let's say you have 5 computers, or you accidentally delete it, or whatever the case may be, you can download that version up to 5 times. And in a way, yeah, that's DRM free, but there's also a limit on that DR. You know, eventually you run out of downloads, and you can't share it with more than 5 people.
You gotta
worst case scenario.
Or wait for it to update before you can get it again.
Yeah, and then that person who bought it has to update all their friends, and that's a whole nother, mess.
Well, I still like the model where you. I like this kind of DRM free, where you can purchase a game from a developer, and you log into their website to get the download link, and then if you decide that, well, heck, man, I got to reformat my hard drive, I need to do this. I need to reinstall this game. You go back to the website, re-log in, you still got the download link, but you have to log in to their system to get it.
Did I ever tell you guys about Atari's ridiculous DRM for Roller Coaster Tycoon 3?
Mm-mm.
Oh my god. I think I even got this game or tried to get it through Steam and couldn't. Whatever the case is, I ended up buying it from the Atari website. And I reformatted my hard drive, and whatever, I think it was a reformat, or I had to uninstall it. I don't know. It was gone. And I needed it again. I had the receipt. I saved all my receipts in my email. So I searched for it, I pulled it up, and I go to re-download it, and the download expires after like 600 days. That's all you get, like 2 years of unlimited downloads, if you want to call it that. And then it
You
cuts
bought
off.
it, though. That's bullshit.
Yeah. And I had to email customer service, and it took a couple days, but they were nice, and they gave me, they reissued the download to me. But eventually I'm going to have that issue again, and that sucks.
Yeah.
There's going to come a time where I've reformatted my hard drive after 600 days, and I'm going to have to, hit them up again. Hey, I want my game back. I paid for it. Here's a receipt. That kind of thing is why I love Steam, because it's just there.
Steam
it's married to your account. And, I was trying to point out some negatives on this, because I was seeing a lot of people like, whoa, refunds, and kind of weighing pros and cons. Ultimately, though, what Jemmy said from the start, it is a good thing that Steam is doing this, because I think we did a whole show about how their customer service was awful. And this is a big part of it.
This is a huge net gain for Steam users, because this is getting a refund because a game just didn't work. You couldn't install it, or like you couldn't launch it once it finally did install, and no matter what you did, you couldn't get it to work. Now you're stuck with this game. Now, on the bright side, if you ever updated computers or whatever, like you'd have it ready for you, but at the same time, you're out however much you spent on that, and and money doesn't grow on trees, so now you're stuck waiting if you want a new game. You can't get your money back to go buy something to play in the meantime.
Yeah. I completely agree. It's necessary. It's necessary to be able to hold developers accountable if, for example, they don't deliver. I know that's a point Treadlow wanted to stress.
Yeah, early access games. I feel like there's a few early access games that have pretty much been abandoned, and they're playable, but just
the
playable.
Refund
You know what I'm saying?
policy wouldn't apply to here, because you probably own the game longer than 2 weeks or 2 hours.
Exactly. And I feel like those, if anything, should, they should allow a refund for those. Because I got some games in there that you can't play. There's nothing to it because it was early access. Now I know they got the little warning, but they're supposed to be consistently updating the game as well. And if they've abandoned it after 6-7 months and it's still early access, why can't we get a refund on that?
I think the big issue is that the Steam has already paid the developer, and they have to basically sue the developer to get the money, to force them to get it.
That's
give
true
it back.
too.
Unless there's some kind of weird contract agreement where refunds are issued, the developer has to, it's probably better to just say, we're going to sue you. You can't, like, I wish, but we just can't seem to hold developers accountable when they take the money and run, Putting it in the worst way possible, taking the money and run is, some people have done that, but a lot of times it is just, developers running out of money or whatever the case may be, and the game isn't getting updated nearly enough or just stops. And yeah, I think this is a step in the right direction, though, because we now have a way to almost automate the refund process, and Steam doesn't need to waste a bunch of resources like man hours dealing with all those requests. That's probably the number one thing is I want a refund, and they have to wait forever.
I see this dev's like heartache, and I see his points, but I think it's mostly alarmist bullshit. Like
if
because
a game
I mean, to a degree, it'll happen, but for the most part, I imagine most refunds are AAA titles.
I just think, like, for instance, I mean, you go to a game and it's just overwhelmingly positive. Like, for instance, Ark now is a new game that just come out. It's got, in the beginning, it doesn't do too hot. It had some FPS issues and things like that, so it got a lot of negative reviews. But they're starting to fix those bugs, and they've just mostly positive reviews. And I think, they could use that as a system to determine whether or not, this is somebody just trying to get a refund because, whatever. I think, I don't know.
The reviews, you were going somewhere with that.
Well, because if it was a mostly positive reviews and they didn't hardly got any negative reviews, and this guy's saying I don't like the game, I don't want to play it or whatever, that should be something that they consider. Well, this is a very positive game. We've got mostly positive reviews. And this guy's saying that it's not working on his system or whatever.
And then they can try to see, well, maybe he stole the game and he's trying to get his money back so he can.
Yeah, or I mean, I don't know. You really can't tell. You don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe the guy really didn't like it. I don't know. But I mean, there's a lot of things. There's usually videos. There's all kinds of stuff where people can see the game before they buy it. And I feel like people either just don't look at that stuff, or they just, they'd rather just put their money in there, knowing that they're going to get a refund anyway, and just buy the game. Try it out like you guys say, and then say I want a refund.
I was just going to say, I imagine most refunds, though, with the 2-hour limit, are basically going to be, I tried to install it and it didn't work. Or I tried to launch the game and no matter what I do, it doesn't work.
And those are probably, I would say, legitimate reasons to, you know what I mean? But I mean, if somebody, I don't know.
Because
there's
2
people
hours,
out there who will abuse this. I know they will. There are people out there.
Absolutely. But 2 hours is not a whole lot of time.
That's true, unless it's a game that only has about an hour's content and it's $3.99. Then
I'm glad you just said that, because I actually did a search. I thought I saw something, and I found an article that speaks to what you just said. There's a game that a developer has reported a 72% return rate on it since Steam refunds. It's called Beyond Gravity. It's reporting a large negative impact on sales due to recent changes on Steam's refund policy. The main story in Beyond Gravity takes about an hour to finish. So people are finishing the story and returning the game.
Yep, I've got a game. Actually, I've got a game in there right now that's only about an hour long. It's basically a story, and I could have, if the process was in effect, then I could have returned it, and that's not really fair to the developers.
Yeah.
No, that's an ethics question, though. That's not.
Because at first
people suck.
You read that and go, well, maybe that just from the headline, developer reports 72% return rate. You read that and go, well, developer made a crappy game. And, you dig into it a little bit. Not all games, just because they got returned, it's crappy. It's just people like getting things for free.
I mean, I imagine, though, because of this, it's more like devs beware. do not create a very short game and put it on Steam for anything other than free then.
Yeah.
Make sure that there is at least 3 hours of content.
I mean, for me, there's a game, like I said, there's a game that's got about an hour and a half or so of content. I would never return it because I love the game, and I'd like to return to it sometime and try and go through it again. Because it's a good game, it was worth it.
Yeah, but you have good ethics.
Yeah,
you feel like they gave you something worth buying, and you're going to keep it because you're not going to steal the content, basically, by demanding a refund because you finished it.
Now, one thing you might be asking, what's the price of Beyond Gravity? Maybe they're charging too much money for an hour's worth of content. It's $2.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah.
God, screw those guys who can't even, like, part with their $2. Like, you got your $2 worth.
It looks like a fun game.
I still, by the way, Weem and chat, I cannot for the life of me get Arc to work. I got Arc. My FPS is always below 10, so I'm gonna wait until they fix it.
Yeah, Arc is a new game. It's a survival game where you can build and craft and all that stuff. It's
dinosaurs.
Very realistic, but yeah, you're in a world full of dinosaurs, and you can get attacked by them. You can train them and tame them, and it looks amazing. And it's only like I think $25 or something like that. I might have to get it for an early access game. I hear it has a ton of content.
It is awesome. I just wish I can play it.
I'm still trying to get what? Sorry, go on.
I was going to say I've got the specs for it. It's just that the game is not optimized quite yet, and they really pretty much, I mean, put this thing out there with its performance bugs and everything because so many people I guess have wanted them to do it, so they did it. They put it on there, and people are buying it, and some people can play it, but my computer can't do it yet.
Yeah, I hear that even like the nicest rigs have a lot of trouble, so optimization is a problem. But William says optimization is yet to happen. It's not uncommon to save that for last. So
that's true. That's true. They want to make the game, and then they fix the optimization because otherwise they keep adding to the game, and every time they add to the game, they got to re-optimize. You know what I mean? So it's better to just add the stuff in there
and then fix it at the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But I'm definitely not unhappy. I'm one of those people that look at the game for what it is and know that it's early access, and I'm just waiting for that optimization so I can play it because I know that my rig can handle it.
I think the three of us are kind of rare consumers in the grand scheme of things. I really do. I mean, most of my friends think the same way we do, but it's very clear to me that the majority of people out there don't like parting with even a measly $2. And if they can screw somebody and they get the opportunity to, they absolutely will.
I don't like parting with $2, but if I agreed to buy the game and if I played through the full game, I'm going to let them keep my $2 because even if I didn't like the game and I managed to get all the way through, guess what? I got $2 worth of entertainment.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be a thief.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Do your research. It's so easy nowadays to get on YouTube and watch some gameplay. And I've determined whether or not I'd like a game based on that. And if I did not like the game, I don't buy it. I'm not going to try something that I know I'm not going to like. There's so many ways to research a game before you buy it to see if you'd like it. Now, again, technical issues are a different thing. Obviously, if you can't run on your system, look at the system requirements, make sure that you meet them. Now, with Arc, it was a different thing. I meet the system requirements for Arc, and it's not working, but yet they also have determined that their game is in no way optimized. So I bought it with that expectation. So I'm gonna suffer through and wait until they fix it. But there's ways to determine whether or not you'd like a game before you buy it, and I just think it's refunds are great. With for instance with EA and their fiasco with The Sims or SimCity, that whole thing, people wanted a refund and all that stuff, and because it just wasn't working for anybody. So it's a little different, but I don't know. I think there's a lot of crybabies out there.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Weem actually said in chat just now, pretty good point. I don't think those are adults, for the most part, putting in returns on games that cost $2. So, meaning these are probably kids.
Oh yeah, I could
back.
agree with that statement that it's probably minors or very young adults who $2 is the difference between a McDonald's meal with their friends or
but this is something
staying at home that day.
Steam should have thought of that. I mean, it's Valve should have thought of that. You have to assume that a lot of the games in your store are indie games, and a lot of those games might be short puzzlers. That their main story is a couple hours long. You know, you have to keep that in mind.
Maybe they should institute a policy if the game is less than $5 at the time of purchase.
All sales
You're not
final.
allowed a refund.
Yeah.
All sale final, yeah.
I
I imagine there's a transaction fee and stuff on the back end, so that would add up if there was a bunch of people refunding $2 left and right.
Well, I'm sure that Steam will also monitor some of these refunds, and if they see somebody like that keeps doing this, a lot, and they start to, puts up red flags, they do some research, they find out what they're doing, and they'll probably block them from doing it. But in the meantime, the developers lose the money, so.
Yeah, we can hold the gamer accountable all we want, but the developer still lost that money. That's that.
Yeah. That's the sucky part.
And if you have a game where almost like 3/4 of your customers have returned it, obviously you probably have a pretty good game, but you made it too short. I mean, in the case of this one,
that's not really fair though, because he put that game out before that refund policy existed.
And that's true too. Yeah, he didn't know.
He didn't know that was going to be instituted one day, and he may want to kind of fluff and stuff his game.
Well, he or she.
To make sure.
How about
he or
this?
She, yeah.
How about leave the option open for the developer to accept refunds or not?
I was going to say that. It should be up to the developer. Let them deal with the flack from saying no refunds, sorry. But then again, you have to then say customer service should also be up to the developer. But that's not the case. When people buy a game and it doesn't work, they go to Steam. They don't go. It's just like if you buy something at Walmart and it's a piece of crap, you go to customer service and complain about it.
You don't go to
You don't go to China and say, hey, this is a piece of crap.
With indie games, it's a little different though, because there's a community there that they build. They have their own community. So each indie game and indie developer will have their own little community they've been dealing with on their own website through forums and such, and then they just get their game on Steam. You know what I mean? So that community can go back and they have access to the developers, and it's very easy for them to communicate with them. So with indie games, I could see that happening. But yeah, you're right. With like AAA titles and stuff like that, that's up to Steam.
Steam is the storefront, so Steam needs to be the one to issue the refund because they're the one getting the complaint. So yeah, but I do agree that the developer should be able to opt out of that. It just causes too many problems. I mean, they really can't.
Yeah.
In terms of
like short games and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a mess.
Maybe they can apply for it. Maybe there could be an application process for a developer, and this would require Steam to put in some man hours, which it seems like whenever they make a change, it's so they don't have to put in man hours. I mean, we all saw what happened with the modding thing where they were charging for mods. There was no monitoring of that. They just kind of let people charge for whatever the hell they wanted, and people were taking copyrighted materials and selling them as their own, and it was a huge mess. So obviously Steam doesn't want to be, have a guy who answers all these refund requests or a team of people who answer these refund requests. That's why the system's in place and it has these like guidelines. So anyway, I think this is going to require some man hours, but if Steam had an application where a developer could go, hey, I have this game. The main story takes like 2 hours tops. Most people can finish it in an hour and a half. I'm afraid of my refund or my game getting refunded, not because it's bad, but because they just finish it and want to be assholes. Can we please fix this? Can we please make it like a 30-minute policy on my game because of how long my main story is?
Right.
You know what?
It should be an application.
Steam could produce an algorithm because they monitor this kind of stuff. they just like put a marker in for whatever the completed the game achievement is, and time it from the time you get like the actual playtime from the time you get the first achievement to that final achievement, and then calculate an average of everybody who get both. And like have some algorithm. They're like 20% of that time or whatever, and that's your refund window.
If the developers were willing, yeah, you're right. If the developers were willing to like cooperate with that, which I think they would be, because anyone can add achievements in their game, then yeah, that would be a great way of like testing it and still making it like computerized too. Like, oh, it looks like you got the I beat the game achievement. Sorry, looks like you had fun. Haha, idiot.
Yeah, I would like to see, yeah, it was like if you get the I beat the game achievement, it could just say no refunds, but it could also like set the timer for future purchases on about how long you can get that refund.
That's a good idea, though. Every time you play a game, if you beat the game and you get an achievement for it, you're locked out of refund.
I mean, it's true though. Like if you beat the game, you liked it enough to sit through the whole thing, you shouldn't be able to get a refund.
It's like well, I guess you can return a book, huh? After you read it, you can go back to Barnes & Noble and return it, right?
They're going to know if you read through that whole thing, though.
What on the speed reader?
No, the spine is now
Oh, yeah, true.
damaged.
They check that, don't they?
Yes.
They probably do. So there you go.
Yeah. I think that this kind of comes down to gamers. Another thought I had about this topic, I think a couple days ago. Gamers need to just kind of ease up a little bit. Yeah, mature for sure. They need to mature for sure. for totally, this to work, because gamers want to have their cake and eat it too. They want, which is a stupid saying, they want to have games, and they want to have as much free content as possible. I mean, crap, I forgot where I was going with that. Damn it, I hate that.
Cake is awesome. Don't be down on it.
I always get hung up on that saying, because have your cake and eat it too is a stupid saying. But I get it.
Well, usually cakes are at parties and stuff, and there's other people. Like, you're not going to just eat it yourself.
I don't think of it like that. I think of someone gives you a piece of cake and you want to eat it. Like, the game is the cake and you want to enjoy it. Like, you want to have your cake and eat it
I think of it in you can't eat your whole cake yourself.
You can't eat an entire cake.
You have to share it.
You asshole. Yeah, that's a good way of thinking about it, I suppose. But gamers, like, I guess going back to the paid mods, gamers freaked out. Like, a mod should be free. They should be passion projects. They want people to put in all this work, and they want to pay as little as possible for it, or nothing if possible. If at all possible, because they justify by saying, well, it's artwork, it should be free to enjoy.
Well, then it should be in a museum, not on your computer.
Yes, exactly. So I don't know, it's just been this weird thing, and I saw so many gamers come out with that attitude that it just made me want to rip my hair out of my head. Like, what? These people worked, even if they didn't make the game itself, they still took time to code this mod that you enjoyed into it, and yet they don't deserve to get paid for their time?
Oh, they absolutely do.
If they think they should be paid and they're charging for it, then A, buy it and shut the hell up, or B, don't buy it and find a free mod, you stupid asshole. So, I mean, I had a bridge to how that related to reviews, and my mind is kind of floating right now because I'm just so mad at stupid gamers and stupid sayings.
Well, I know that there are mods that people
make. Reviews? I meant refunds.
Yeah.
Oh, did you? Oh.
Anyway.
I know there are mods that people, can make in 20 minutes, put it up there for sale, and make tons of bucks off of it, Some mods are just that easy to make. But then there are mods that people put a lot of time and effort in,
Well,
yeah.
Updating
know
every
the
time
difference
the
between
game
those.
updates. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're not a developer or a modder, you're going to know that reskinning a sword that's already in the game doesn't take as much time as creating a whole questline adventure.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess what I was getting at is, what is the right way to do refunds? And is Steam doing it?
I think they are doing as close of a good job with this as they can for an initial release. I imagine that it has some growing pains and things that it's going to have to go through. And, if there's a lot of backlash from the indie crowd, we could see some changes to the policy, as in indie games are not subject to refunds, or you get a lot less time with indie games, or anything of that nature.
Yeah. I think a lot of the kinks that need to be worked out need to be between Steam and the developers. And there's a lot less developers than there are gamers. So I think it'd be a lot easier for Steam to commit a team to that, cause. Get people sitting there and reviewing the games themselves and going, okay, this game clearly is too short to have this 2-hour window. We need to shorten this window. And yeah, I mean, you could even make it as simple as saying, then you got to worry about shady developers, but you can just, when the developer puts the game on Steam, I'm sure they have to go through some kind of form or two. So put on one of the forms, like, how long is your game? Like, total, story mode hours. And the developer can go, oh, it's like an hour. And then,
as it is right now, I mean, basically, you can return a game for actually no reason at all, right?
Yeah.
Literally, I mean, if it's within the 2 hours, the 2 weeks, you can return a game and don't have to give a reason.
Yeah,
just
it's no questions asked.
Yeah, and I think there should be questions.
I don't think so.
No?
I imagine most people are. I mean, aside from the very small people who are already pirating games and stuff like that, getting, I guess, maybe easier access to DRM-free, quote-unquote, software, you're going to see more of just people who, like I said, can't install it for whatever reason, won't launch for whatever reason, or they get into the game and they realize within 30 minutes those controls or whatever's going on with that game just not going to gel with them. Why do you want to fill out a form that a person has to look at and devote more manpower to that? Should be no questions asked, because 2 hours, really, for most games, very small snapshot of the game.
Well, one of the things that I know, Curse has done this. Okay, Curse is a client that you can get that adds mods and things like that. Okay, one of the things that I would hate to see, and I haven't done it yet, but I have a feeling with all this stuff coming up that they're changing with Steam and all that, I'm afraid they're probably going to eventually have a premium account. And it will pay for, on Steam, and it will pay for these particular things.
Ooh.
I don't know.
I
hope that doesn't happen.
Oh, you know what? You just said that, and now I'm like, one day it could be possible. I don't see it happening anytime soon, because they set themselves up more as a store.
I mean, it would be sad. They cap our downloads unless we're a premium, so that our download speed is going to be less than, say, I would hate that to happen.
No, what you're doing is you're capping your sales. Like, people can't, if people know that they're not going to be able to buy so many games in a month without getting capped, they're just going to shop somewhere else, because other stores are going to start trying to compete with that.
Well, no, I don't mean cap how many games you can
screwing
buy.
Up.
I'm talking about capping, for instance, on Curse Client, when you download mods, you can only download one at a time. Whereas if you're a premium account, you can select all and they download all at the same time.
I imagine if they added a premium to Steam, it would be access to further discounts.
And that stuff. But what I'm saying is I'm hoping that doesn't happen. And with these kind of things that we're talking about here, having to extra man hours to have somebody on staff that's going to review all these refunds, and I mean, what else comes down the line? I'm afraid that might be a thing, and I hope not, because I like Steam the way it is. They're making money off of the games. There's no reason for them to have this premium account, but if they have to pay for extra staff to do this,
I think it would be a bad move for them.
I think so
really
too.
A bad move.
People have bad tastes in their mouth when they hear the word premium. They don't like the idea of having to buy in to get a better something. They'd rather just have it, you know. And I think many businesses that do it right don't offer a premium section. You know, there's plenty that do, but I think the ones that do better in general, like businesses that do better, don't offer premiums. They just let customers walk in the door and do their thing and leave.
Yeah, it's like going to Walmart and saying, "Well, I got a premium card." Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you can go over there. You're allowed to go over in that section over there.
Well,
Oh,
I mean,
you're not
we live in
premium.
the
You can
era
only
of-
buy 2 items tonight. I'm
era
sorry.
of microtransactions. Nobody wants to do subscription fees anymore.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, I know. Yeah, they don't. I hate
people
them.
hate subscription fees. I mean, you already have bills to pay, and now you have to pay bills on your video games. You know, it's absurd.
Bills for my video game store.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That would be a mess. Not that you'd say that. Now, again, like I said, not that you would have to, but I mean, they would have two, you know, the basic and the premium. So you could be a basic, you know, you can come on the store and
If
buy
I
what you want.
could rent games through Steam with a premium quote unquote account where I could just download it and play it as long as I wanted, as long as I had an active subscription, I might consider that.
That I can see them
That
doing.
might be interesting.
That's what like PlayStation's trying to do. But before we get too far away from the refund thing, I did want to add one more point to that. The way it works with hard copies of games, if you buy a game from GameStop, for example, and you don't like it or whatever the case may be, the fact of the matter is you open the package, you took it out of the store, you played it. If you go to return it, I think there's like a very limited return policy, but for the most part, what'll end up happening is you just get like a fraction of what you spent back. Like, oh, okay, you paid $60, and now you want to give this back to either trade in or return. Here's $40. Like, but I paid 60. Well, too bad. I mean, and GameStop has a return policy and all these. I know, but for the most part, like when you buy a video game, it's one of the harder things to get returned.
Well, it's all electronics, basically.
It's It's like a consumable product. It's not something that you could, you know. It's not physical anymore. I mean, even with discs. I mean, I've tried to return a Left 4 Dead DVD because I couldn't, for some reason, the code wasn't working. Luckily, I was able to convince the manager, hey, I'm telling you, I put it in Steam and it doesn't. This is my very first game in Steam, by the way, and the code didn't work. It said it was already being used, and I had bought it from GameStop, brand new. You know, of course, it's not brand new because they open up the case and then they stick an envelope and put your game in there. They never have sealed cases of games anymore. But I finally got it. But it was one of those things where, you know, I mean, I needed it returned or a replacement.
Yeah. It's just games are hard to get refunds for, so I can see why we've gone so long without them. Without any refunds. And I mean, that's why people have celebrated the fact that people make YouTube videos about these games and they spend their money so you don't have to spend yours, kind of thing, if you don't like the game. And I don't think that's going to, you know, I don't think that's in jeopardy. I don't think YouTubers are going to suffer from refunds or anything like that. But I think that it's good that we have a policy. I just think maybe there's some kinks to work out. For not only for shorter games, but just in general. Like, people are going to find ways to abuse this, and the only way to learn is to test it out. So,
yeah, they have to implement something before they can figure out like
where they went wrong.
The scummiest scum find a way to really abuse it.
Yeah,
Right.
Like getting back $2 for a game you fully beat. Assholes.
Those people make me sick.
Since we're nearing the last 15 minutes of the show here, every week we've decided we want to do a game of the week, but this week it kind of got messed up.
Oh my gosh.
I played it tiny bit. It was miserable. That music was so repetitive. It was driving me crazy.
I got to the map.
What was the game of the week?
Romance of the Three Kingdoms 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got to a map, and I didn't know what to do. I was lost.
It's a lot of dialogue, a lot of really repetitive music.
I kept having problems with it too, and that's when I had computer problems, and I think that I messed up some audio codecs or something on my computer, and now I can't get a Windows Experience Index on there, which is necessary to get the Windows 10 Reserve button. So, yeah, that was a fun game. I think the whole game itself was
a scam.
A virus. It was a scam.
Well, I didn't get to play it at all. I've been crazy busy. My parents just moved here. They've been living in Colorado for the past year that I've been in North Carolina. They just moved. I've been helping them unpack. We had all those technical difficulties last week. It's just been crazy. I never got a chance to play it. I've been working like mad. So since I discovered that you guys also had trouble, I figured that we just kind of start fresh this week with a game that doesn't require any kind of shady anything. And I think we should all play some SkySaga.
Yeah.
Get our listeners to play SkySaga. Perhaps they find us in SkySaga. Maybe. And that will be our game of the week. Because I can't stop thinking about this game.
It's very addicting. It's a great game.
What is it exactly? Because I was on that website getting like registered for the beta and stuff. And I'm like, is it part Minecraft, part adventure? Or I couldn't quite figure it out. Like the graphics are adorable.
Do you remember Cubic Castles? Did you ever play that?
Yes, I do remember that.
It's very similar to that, where you have your own little island.
I almost thought when you guys told me that this was that game.
No, this is so much better. It's so much better. Not to put down Cubic Castles, because it's good in its own thing, you know. But this is kind of like a Minecraft Cubic Castles, kind of like you got basically they're like instances where you go in and you kill all the main bosses and stuff, and you gather materials and go back to your base. You do quests because you go to the social hub and you can get quests, and you can do quests. So it's kind of like an MMO in that aspect of it, and it's just a lot of fun.
At its core, it's an MMO game that you can also build and craft in.
Yeah,
it takes like all of these aspects that people have been messing with since Minecraft came out and like puts it into one game. And so far, they're doing a fantastic job. And it's
awesome.
Free right now. You can go to SkySaga.com. You can sign up for their beta. And if you're in the US or the UK, they'll get you in there pretty much the next day. Like it's 100% of the people I know got in the very next day. And I always see them tweeting, okay, we're about to send out another bunch of invites. You better get yours in now. And people, rush to get their invite, or get their application in. It's basically just your email address. And then they send you beta access or alpha or whatever you want to call it. So once you're in there, you realize you're playing a very developed game, and the graphics are amazing. And it's just like, imagine, you got cubes everywhere, but it doesn't look like Minecraft. It's not like 16, 18-bit cubes. They're very pretty.
Yeah,
yes.
It's like very pretty in a cartoony way. It's adorable. I was just like, I don't know what I'm looking at. Do people create the worlds that you go to and play in, or is it like all preset?
It's kind of like, okay, so everyone starts out and you quote unquote crash land on your own island. It's a floating island. You can take this island and, like, if you want, level it and turn it into whatever you want. Like, it's just yours to do what you want with.
Well, that's what I meant. Like,
yes, but that's
kind
your
of like
place.
Skyblock in Minecraft. You know how what is it called, Skyblock?
Well, that's different. You start out with a tiny thing and you build it out. This is just an island, and I'm sure there's like a limited barrier on how much you can build, but you can build whatever you want, and that's your place to do what you please with. Do with what you please. But
you
then
can go to other islands.
And you can like travel to other islands you see, I think, and stuff like that. But the main game stuff, like the adventuring, that's all I think made by the developers.
Okay.
So you go into these instances, and there's like mobs to fight, and stuff like that. And so you can go in there, fight mobs, and there's in the harder difficulty ones, there's bosses, and those bosses help you unlock more crafting recipes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So you get loot and stuff from doing the adventures.
Yeah, there's parts of the game that the developers made and parts of the game that the players have made. So it really, and it meshes them together very, very well. The social hub is like perfect. You go in there and there's like, it's blocked off into 3 sections. And it's just this wide open space with all these players running around doing their thing. And so you have there's one section for people who like to build. And that's people who just build on their own island. You can get quests based on how you build. There's another section for people who like adventuring. You go there and you can get quests for your next adventure. Kill 10 of these, collect 7 of these, whatever. And then there's one that's going to be based on PvP, but they haven't added it yet. So in all these things, you kind of level up. There's like a level, but for each thing. So you could be level 12 with adventuring and trying to build that, but you can be level 5 with building and so on and so forth. And then there's quests that make that easier to progress. And it's just, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain.
There's different biomes,
yeah, there's different biomes, and it's kind of a game where you just collect and collect and collect to keep moving forward, to keep getting more recipes, to keep going to new and exciting places, and even in the instances, you can run into more people.
Yeah,
because they're not like just your instance. They're kind of.
And when you crash land on your own little island or whatever, you'll have to kind of go around looking for your basically destroyed or messed up castle that you basically have to rebuild. So you go in and you go down into the basement area of this castle, and then that's where your game begins, because now you have a place, you have the portal there. You have to put your keys in there to open the portal up. You can go to medium, easy, hard, different instances to go to. And and then people just sit on their island and just build their own castle back up, or turn it into a boat.
Okay.
Like Weems said.
Because the website is really kind of
vague.
Devoid of like everything's really pretty, and it's like, wow, I don't know what this is, but it looks cool. I'll sign up, but I don't know what I'm signing up for.
Well, you're signing up for fun.
Well, when we get in there, we can help you out with it. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. You said I should be approved pretty quick.
I think I'm ahead of everybody except Weem. Weem's a little more ahead of me, but I have been playing like mad, and I've got myself leveled up pretty good. So I've got a lot of stuff. I got a lot of keystones and keys and stuff to go to different places, so I can actually go to a hard one now. And but yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I've been having a problem logging back in. There's been some kind of region bug that's affecting a very small percentage of people, it seems, and I'm one of them.
And you're
yeah.
When did this start? Just like tonight?
No, like from I think the second or third time I went to actually play the game.
Oh, okay.
And ever since, I haven't been able to come back in. It just says it's not available in my region. And I went on the forums, and people gave me the same spiel. Well, it's not available in most regions yet. Like, I was playing it. Like, shut up.
Well, maybe it's not available in your region.
And now it doesn't work.
Are you using a proxy?
East coast of U.S. is not part of the regions that are available?
That's a bizarre way to break off your game. Well, we're going to give the West Coast first crack at it. Then maybe the Midwest. Then the East Coast. Central time zone. Fuck you.
Well, I haven't been on the forum post in a little bit, but today I was checking my email, and it was giving me email updates, and it looks like one of the developers popped in and said, sorry, we've been so late on fixing this. We're going to, we'll look into it. So it looks like they said something about tomorrow. They should have some kind of patch. So it looks like that next patch should fix me up, and I should be able to play again. But I recorded a whole bunch with Weem, and I'm still editing all that content, and I'm looking to get on my YouTube channel. So if you want to check the game out, Dreadlow, have you recorded it at all?
I haven't recorded it yet, no.
Okay. Well, it's on my YouTube channel, so, go check it out if you'd like, youtube.com/VortechVids. And, yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a free game. You can't worry, don't worry about getting a refund or anything like that. Just...
No Steam refunds.
That was one of the things that bothered me, because you guys are like, go get Sky...
I'm sure it's going to be free. They want to actually, if I'm not mistaken,
there's no information about if it's even a free demo, like right now while it's in beta.
I think it's going to be free to play. I really do. because they have a shop where you can buy
Cosmetics.
certain cosmetics and things like that. So so I know that they're. I don't know. We'll see, but I think it's gonna be free to play,
Yeah, and it's
kind of like Trove.
Yeah, Trove, Guild Wars, all that. So yeah, that's gonna be, I think, our game of the week. And we've already played it a bit, but I want to play it a lot more. And another thing I want to suggest for an upcoming game of the week, but maybe a little bit expensive or out of reach. That's why I wanted to bring it up now, since it's not going to be this week's game of the week. Fallout 4 trailer came out, and I've never played Fallout 3 or any Fallout for that matter.
They're so good.
I have Fallout 3, and I went to download it on a previous machine that I had, and it wouldn't work.
Mm-hmm.
It got like partway through a cutscene and stopped, just froze.
Oh.
So I gave up on it. But I bet you if I downloaded it on this computer, it probably would work. And I'm kind of thinking maybe that could be, if we all own it.
I do.
Fallout 3.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of the. I got like two or three different Fallouts, so I don't know which one I got though. But I don't have it in Steam.
I have it in Steam.
Well, you'll have to go through your collection and tell us which ones you have.
Yeah.
I think I have some kind of deluxe version that gives me Fallout 3 and New Vegas.
Okay. I don't have
Well,
Steam
I have
open
New Vegas
because I
as well.
crashed when I lost my internet earlier, so I didn't have Steam open. But yeah, definitely. I would love to, play around with that.
So let's say that good chance the next game of the week will be Fallout 3, but this one is SkySaga. We're encouraging people to jump in this game. It is free to play, and most, if not everybody, gets into the beta. So definitely sign up for that on SkySaga.com. We'll have all the links you need in the show notes as usual, but I think for now that's about it. We're at time. So, yes. Join us next week where we'll be all drooling over SkySaga and whatever other news story comes out of Steam refunds or whatever happens.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go. When is E3?
It's like this week.
Oh.
Ish.
Oh, we'll probably be talking about that.
Oh, there you go.
It may be a little later. Hold on.
I'm a terrible gamer.
I can give you the exact date. Like, I knew it, and now it's like, boop, gone.
If I can't go to something, I don't give a crap
June
when it is.
16th through the 18th. So it's not this week. It's next week.
The following week. So maybe we'll probably, a couple times now, we've done like an E3 pre-show where we talk about what we think they're going to bring up.
I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm going to be too excited to really pay attention to E3 because my expansion pack drops on the 19th, the day after E3, and they are going to promo some new stuff that's going to drop in the expansion pack for 14. So I'm like really excited.
Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy 14. I get a Griffin to ride because I got the digital collector's edition.
Wow.
It's a birthday gift. Don't make fun of me.
I love it when they do that. I know with Ark, if you buy it now before it's released or whatever, is it Ark? Yeah, you get a free saddle to tame your first dinosaur with, or use it on a tame dinosaur that you tame. So yeah, it's always fun when you get extra stuff that nobody else. I don't know. I can't get in the game yet, so.
Well, the reason the game drops for me on the 19th is because it's been pre-ordered, so I get pre-access or pre-release.
Oh,
so I get like
awesome.
a long weekend of it before people who didn't pre-order it.
It's
and they all get to enjoy it on the 23rd.
Well, we'll all be doing those
dirty
things.
casuals.
You filthy casuals.
Yes, the filthy casuals. They won't be in pre-release.
You better be playing some SkySaga though, for a game of the week.
I will make time for it. I will probably play it during the week and not the weekend, though. Because on the weekend, the raid group that I'm with goes and stuff like that.
Okay. Weem says you can take saddles off or recover them if your dino dies. Good to know.
Your mount can die?
Yeah.
No, I couldn't handle that. I might get really upset.
When you log off and you leave your dino there, somebody can kill it.
No, you're kidding me. I would be so upset.
That would be awful, huh? Weem's got them all named. They're like what is it? Tysera Weem, and Weem is at the end of everything. It's funny.
Weemosaurus.
I think I would name my raptor
There
jerky.
it is. Tricera Weem. It's so funny. I watched that video and I cracked up.
All right, guys. We'll be sure to check out everythingnoob.com for the show notes. And as always, we will see you next week.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of the Everything Noob Podcast. Hit up everythingnoob.com for our show notes, blogs, YouTube and Twitch channels, previous episodes, and even a t-shirt store. Please game responsibly, and we'll see you next week.